and I think he's going to carry all before him. And I am just so proud and humbled to be able to introduce to you the next President of the United States of America, Gary Johnson.
Is this the craziest election ever? And you know how crazy it is, right? I'm going to be the next president of the United States. Beyond my wildest expectation, and it's part of this whole effort here, Bill Weld is my running mate. Unbelievable. Brilliant Bill. Okay? Honest Gary and Brilliant Bill. When I was governor, Bill was known as the smartest governor of all the 50 governors. And what I saw was the smartest governor of all 50 governors, but what else I saw was somebody with genuine humility and somebody who really walked the talk. Look, this is about the craziest election that we have ever seen. And the prospect, or the pitch that we're making is, hey, elect Clinton on one side, elect Trump on the other side. It's going to be more partisan than ever. It'll never be more partisan than with that. But what if you elect a couple of libertarians in the middle, a couple of former governors? Hiring libertarians, Republicans, Democrats, and because of that, being able to call out both sides to really come to the middle and deal with the issues that are facing this country. I do believe that most people in this country are libertarian, it's just that they don't know it. And speaking very broadly, libertarians, look, keep the bedroom out of my pocketbook, keep the bedroom out of my bedroom. And then, aren't we all a bit skeptical about these military interventions that put our military personnel in harm's way? And they end up making the world less safe, not more safe? So let's talk about being fiscally conservative for a second. What that starts with is entrepreneurs. And if I may offer some advice, and it's worth exactly what you're paying for, which is nothing. Apply whatever you know entrepreneurially. You'll never have a greater reward. And as difficult as it will be for you to be an entrepreneur tomorrow, it'll never be easier for you to embark on that than tomorrow. Create your own job. Create jobs for others. Nothing more rewarding. So government can play a role in this. Government can reduce the barriers to entry when it comes to being an entrepreneur. The sharing libertarian economy of the future. Airbnb, Uber, Airbnb. Every one of us can rent out our place for the weekend, we can go off into the mountains, rent our place out for the weekend. The problem is, of course, is that government interferes. I was talking to a young lady in Baltimore. She said she was 26 years old, just gotten her doctorate in science. She said, I have these huge student loan debts, but I figured out a way to pay them back. Airbnb. And it's great. Until the city of Baltimore came out with a law against, or came out with an ordinance against Airbnb. Well, that's government getting in the way. And government should get out of the way. And then there's Uber. And think of Uber as a model for everything in the future. Uber everything. Uber doctor, Uber lawyer, Uber electrician, Uber plumber, where you eliminate the middleman, you are able to deliver directly the goods and services that you can provide to the customer, so you end up making more money, the customer ends up paying less. Really, it's exciting, but reducing those barriers to make that happen. Crony capitalism is alive and well in government. And crony capitalism is when government gets involved in business. That's crony capitalism, when it gives advantage to those in business. Regretfully, I think most of America equates crony capitalism and free market as one and the same, when in fact they're opposites. Free market is devoid of government interference. Equal opportunity. That is something that government can do. Can government provide equal income, equality, income equality? Well, let's see, income equality. That's where Peter takes from Paul. That's an equation that Peter just loves, but it doesn't work. But can government create equal opportunity where everybody has a level playing field to compete? It is a possibility, and as governor of New Mexico, it was something really that I was able to deliver on. It was something that Bill Weld was able to deliver on. Smaller government, really genuinely believing in small government, because smaller government is less money out of your and my pockets to pay for that. And when it's less money out of your and my money out of our pockets to pay for that, that's money that we could be spending on our lives as opposed to government knows best. So one of the things that Bill and I are proposing to do is to submit a balanced budget to Congress in the first 100 days. Now, neither party is recognizing that we have to reform the entitlements, or they're not going to be around for future generations. And so I'm now talking about Medicaid and Medicare. And I'm also talking about Social Security. And it's not cutting Social Security, but it's reforming Social Security, or it's not going to be around in the future. Raising the retirement age. You could also affect a very fair means testing. Should you get back more money from Social Security than what you paid in, given a certain level of income? I think there could be a very fair means testing. But neither political party wants to address that, and we are approaching a fiscal cliff if we don't address these very important issues. And then taxes. Look, we're not looking to get elected king or dictator. That would not be constitutional. Vice President of the United States, and we're planning to do this as a partnership, something really unique. You're going to get two for the price of one. But Johnson Weld, look, count on us to always sign legislation that will make taxes simpler, always sign legislation to reduce taxes. If a magic wand when it came to taxes, I would eliminate, this is waving a magic wand, and I would advocate for this, but I would eliminate income tax, I would eliminate corporate tax. And because you did that, you'd be able to actually then abolish the IRS. With one federal consumption tax. Something very, very fair, easy to administer. And if we had zero corporate tax in this country, we would absolutely create tens of millions of jobs in this country. For no other reason than why would you start up, grow a company anywhere in the world other than a place that had zero corporate tax? And if you also did away with corporate tax, and who pays for corporate tax? We pay for corporate tax. But if you did away with corporate tax, pink slips would get issued to 80% of Washington lobbyists because that's what the more money that you consume, so that's how a consumption tax would work. We as a country need to embrace immigration. We are... I understand that Donald Trump is watching the Olympics very, very closely. He's wanting to see how high the Mexican pole vaulters are. Building a fence across the border, that is not the country that we are. And if we build a fence across the border, can you just see the president of Mexico going, President Trump, take this wall down, and he's going to be on the right side of history. It's a wall We should make it as easy as possible for somebody that wants to come into this country and work to be able to get a work visa. And a work visa should entail a background check and a Social Security card so that applicable taxes get paid. The Wharton School of Business, a couple of weeks ago in the Wall Street Journal, let's see, Wharton School of Business, that's where Trump graduated from college too, right? The Wharton School of Business came out with an analysis of if we restricted immigration and found that that would actually have a negative impact on our economy. They also gave a second scenario, which was to increase highly skilled workers coming into the United States, which would have a very, very small positive impact on the economy, or to allow for a 50% increase in immigration, which would have a dramatic positive impact on our economy. For those of you new to libertarian, let me give you a libertarian solution to a problem that all communities are looking at right now, and that's affordable housing. Well, affordable housing. What if the city of Salt Lake City, which I'm sure has 20 acres sitting somewhere, it's probably not necessarily a desirable 20 acres, but what if they had 20 acres sitting someplace and they zoned it for special use, meaning no zoning whatsoever, 20 acres, do whatever you want with it, brought together architects and engineers with no regard whatsoever to current building codes, you know that they would design safe housing, you know that, and then go look at IKEA, that 600 square foot space that has a toilet, a place to take a shower, a place to cook, a bed, and a desk. And I'll bet affordable housing could be accomplished for 1/10 the cost it would have to take place if you had to comply with all of the government has to say. This is government getting in the way of what could be very real solutions to the problems that we do have. Believing in free markets, really genuinely believing in free markets. That's how we bring the world together, is with free markets. But let's use free markets as an example when it comes to healthcare. And by the way, healthcare is about as far removed from free markets as it possibly can be. If free markets existed for healthcare, we would not have insurance to cover ourselves for ongoing medical need. We would have insurance to cover ourselves for catastrophic injury and illness, much like car insurance. And we would pay as you go in a system that I'm going to guess would probably cost about 1/5 of what it currently costs. We would have, you would have advertised pricing, you'd have competition, you'd have advertised outcomes, something that right now when you go into the doctor's office, you have no idea what it's going to cost. You have no idea what the outcome's going to be. And when you get the bill, you know that nobody's actually paying that amount of money. Well, that's what we've got going right now. But if you had a genuine free market approach to the economy, you would have stitches are us. You'd have gallbladders are us. You'd have x-rays are us. Advertised pricing, advertised outcomes. Blowing the lid off the supply of doctors. How many bright people have you known throughout your life that wanted to get into med school and couldn't simply because there weren't enough slots? Term limits is something that I absolutely believe in. Politicians would do the right thing as opposed to whatever it takes to get reelected, and that we would not have a $20 trillion debt currently if term limits were in effect. And libertarians, look, we're socially agnostic, we're socially accepting, we're socially tolerant. Whatever you are, just don't force it on others. In our lives, we should be able to make all the choices in our own lives. All the choices in our own lives, as long as those choices don't adversely affect others. Believing in LGBT rights, believing or understanding that can there be any issue more difficult than abortion that a woman might face, but recognizing that that is a decision that she is the one to make. Legalize marijuana.
Yeah!
Millions of Americans who are convicted felons that but for our drug laws would otherwise be tax-paying, law-abiding citizens. All of us have friends, family, co-workers that consume marijuana. We all know those people. We may not know that they actually consume marijuana, but I'm going to suggest to you that they are anything but criminal for making choices to use When I was governor of Mexico, I was more outspoken than any governor in the country regarding school choice, allowing for you and I to make decisions in our own lives that might positively impact our own families and the way our kids get educated. So for 6 straight years, I advocated a full-blown voucher program that would have allowed, in my opinion, educational entrepreneurs to be unleashed. The educational model of the future is the Khan Academy. It's free. Kindergarten through a doctoral degree in any subject. I just think that the innovation that would exist if we could allow for full-blown, how in America might we deliver education in the best way possible, would exist if we would bring competition to public education. Believing that there should be several agencies within the federal government that should be eliminated, but let's just start with the Department of Education. The Department of Education, it gives Utah gives the federal Department of Education 13 cents. And then the federal Department of Education gives Utah back 11 cents. That's the bureaucratic wash and dry cycle. And they give back Utah 11 cents, and they tell Utah, here, we've given you 11 cents, and you need to do A, B, C, and D to get this 11 cents. But to do A, B, C, and D, it costs 15 cents to accomplish. That doesn't make any economic sense whatsoever. Why not just leave it with Utah in the first place? Because I'll bet they'll do a darn better job. Getting elected governor of New Mexico, I supported the death penalty. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And then I came to find out that it cost more money to put a person on death row than it did to lock a person up for the rest of their lives. And that kind of irritated me. And then I found out that, and came to this conclusion, that there is about a 4% error rate when it comes to the death penalty. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to put, maybe I'm one of those 4, I don't want to put 4 innocent people to death to punish 96 that are guilty. It is flawed public policy. When I was governor, ordered a review of 36 inmates on death row, 22 of whom were released because of DNA testing that were categorically proved to be innocent. I don't want to put 1 innocent person to death if I can put 999 that are guilty to death, much less 4 innocent people to put 96 that are guilty. Death penalty, flawed public policy. Guns. I absolutely support the Second Amendment. Absolutely. Should we be open to a dialogue on how we keep guns out of the hands of the mentally ill? Yes, we should be open to a dialogue on how we Should we be open to a dialogue on how you keep guns out of the hands of would-be terrorists? Yes, we should be open to a dialogue on how we do that. But I would love to know what transpired between the FBI and the shooter in Orlando, Florida, that they would have interviewed him on several occasions and and somehow that fell through the cracks. So I haven't seen any of these suggestions that would actually accomplish those things, but let's all keep an open mind on how we might do that. With regard to the military, we have an obligation to all active military personnel, period. On active military personnel on who they favored to be President of the United States. Johnson Weld was favored by 39%. Hillary was third, but what that says, in my opinion, is how about some real judicious use of U.S. military power, and that's when we're attacked, we're going to attack back, we're going to have an impenetrable national defense, but when it comes to these interventions, when it comes to us getting involved in regime change, that has the unintended consequence of making things worse, not better. We should get out of Afghanistan tomorrow. When we went into Afghanistan, I think we all supported that, and I was one of them. We went in there to get Al-Qaeda, and after 7 months, we got Al-Qaeda. We could have left our options open to come back and get Osama bin Laden, but for the consequences that will exist tomorrow by getting out of Afghanistan, those same consequences will exist 20 years from now, and I'm afraid if we don't get out of Afghanistan tomorrow, we're going to find ourselves there forever. And has America ever been better? Has it ever been better? I mean, we get along better, we communicate better with one another, our kids are smarter than ever. The number one law enforcement tool right now is the smartphone that you've got in your pocket. And do we have issues? Yeah, we've got issues, but we can work through these issues. And in that context, Black Lives Matter. There is a 4 times more likelihood that if you are arrested, you're going to go to prison. There's a 5 times more likelihood that you're going to be shot as a black person. And we're coming to an awareness with this quicker than ever. We've had our heads in the sand over this issue. And let me tell you who the first person who's had his head in the sand over this issue is. And it's me, and I'm sorry. And I'm coming to this recognition, and we've got to deal with it, and we will deal with it. Matter. That's right. That's right. All of us are subject to what's happening right now with blacks, and we have to recognize that if you're black, yes, all lives matter. I'm going to promise to bring an end to you to the imperial presidency. Well, that's where it's gotten to right now. Air Force One is whatever aircraft the president is on. It doesn't have to be a 747. Bill Weld and I are promising to be good stewards of this office, and it really starts with saving money. very, very much. Are you in?